Hey guys, still working on the 2003 Harley Road King with 98-inch twin cam. I'm freshening up this motor over winter, and spring is upon us, so let's get moving and grooving here. While I'm in here, I might as well inspect the lifters, my tappets, and I might as well pull the cams out and redo the inner cam bearings. Also, friends, I don't know what cams are in this bike. These cams, they make mid-range to high-end power. This thing absolutely boogies if you give it some RPM. I kind of like that. It's lumpy and throaty and raspy when you're cruising, which I like. It's got character, but it's not begging to be flogged, which means I can keep my license from being tender. Because a younger me, I had a really hard time riding a bike like this sanely. But this bike, it's sane. It rides very smoothly and nicely at low RPM. And then, if you want to boogaloo a little bit, you just twist the go fast side, and she really boogies. You rev this thing, and it absolutely moves. But I don't know what cams are in here, so while I'm in here, I might as well have a look at my cams, my lifters, and replace the inner cam bearings. Let's start taking this apart and see how far we can get today. In the last video, we took our tappet blocks off, or our tappet covers. These little retainers just sitting here. I'll pull this one off. I may need a screwdriver for this one. Okay, these little retainers keep the lifters from falling out. Okay, and then you can just pull your lifters out. Okay, this one doesn't look too bad. You want to make sure these rollers, these are chrome plated. This one looks fine. Okay, I'm going to take these out and mark them. Their locations, just if I want to, well, I want to put them back in the same places generally, but again, this one looks minty. Okay. Rear cylinder. Again, these things, I don't know how many miles are on them. This is a wear part. You're supposed to replace these, I don't know, they say every 20 to 30,000 miles on a bike that's built. Now, let's see. This one. This one's not horrible. You can see right there, the coating is starting to wear off. So, there's some wear to the chrome. So I'm thinking perhaps, friends, I should think about replacing these lifters, all four of them. What's this one look like? And this one's the same thing. It's got some wear on it. So, I mean, these could go a little bit longer, but again, if you're ripping down the road, you probably don't want to lose a lifter because, well, losing a lifter can completely cook the motor, friends. If pieces start coming off there, they'll get into the cam chest. You can get into the oil pump, and you don't want to do that. Okay, now I'll undo all these cover bolts. There's many of them. Just like everything else, I kind of undo them in more or less a cross pattern. If you guys have been around, you've seen this before. This bike has a Screaming Eagle cam plate and hydraulic lifter or hydraulic cam tensioner setup. So no worries there about cam shoes wearing out. And you can see the timing marks are more or less lined up. So I'm not sure the exact sequence, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to take these two off to remove this hydraulic tensioner. Okay, and then undo these. And then there's all the bolts. I have to undo this tensioner because it's blocked by one of the bolts is blocked by it. Okay, so I'm going to undo these two bolts right here. Helps if you have the right size socket. It's a T27 Torx. Okay, now I'm going to undo pull sprockets, 9/16 and a 1/2 inch. Just like that. Okay, these have a shim underneath each one. Now we can pull this off. And my shim behind here came off, right here. The shim right there. That keeps your sprocket centered with each other. Now these are spline. You can see there's a spline here and a flat there. So no worries about putting this back together, even if it's out of time. See, as you can see, put it back together there, and the timing marks are still the same. But now again, if you look at this, this is sticking. Okay, you put this back on here. And where's our timing mark? Right here. Okay, and that spacer keeps these in line with each other. Okay, I'm going to just carefully pull this off. Again, that spacer came off. These had spring-loaded tensioners. Again, this has a little bit of wear in it, but it's not horrible. I may actually want to replace these. Okay, but when these wear really bad, they end up coming apart, and then you cook your motor. So I'm going to start with the cam plate bolts. Okay, just carefully pulling them apart. Okay, and then I will undo the oil pump bolts. Now I'm going to try not to disturb the oil pump, just for the fact I don't want to put it back together. One from a Harley dealer. Okay, these are all the same length, it appears, so yeah, they all appear identical. Now this whole cam plate should slide right out. My oil pump should stay in place, which it has. There's the oil pump. Okay, now this goes on the front of the oil pump, so I'm going to leave that like that. Trying to keep the oil in my catch pan here. Okay, we're going to go to the bench now and have a look at these camshafts while this is dripping. Okay, guys, well, what do we have here? This is kind of what I thought. Something similar for lift and durations and everything. These are T-Man Performance, which is so funny because I am the Tin Man. These are T-Man Performance 590 camshafts. These are a 590 lift. I think they're 590 lift on the intake and exhaust, like 246 degrees of duration. These are, well, and you can tell they're a long duration. They got big lopes on them. These are a performance-oriented cam. T-Man has been making these forever, and these are a good camshaft. These make big top end and mid-range power. But they do recommend these for touring bikes, big displacement touring bikes. A 98 is not big displacement, but I actually really enjoy how these cams behave. They absolutely boogie in the mid and high range power. They start really coming on about 2,500 RPM, and right to the rev limiter, these things absolutely boogie. And again, you look at the lobes on them, they look mint. There's really no wear. So I think we're going to throw some new lifters in this thing. Let's pull this tensioner off and just have a look at the pad. I'm going to replace the pads while I'm in here. Okay, let's just undo this. I'll have to find the torque specs for this because I do not know. I'm sure somewhere out there there's a Screaming Eagle factory paper on torque specs for this, but I'll find them. These feel like they probably had Loctite on them, which doesn't surprise me. Again, friends, I'm going over this thing because I want to do this once and I don't ever want to do this again for many years. Until such times that the bottom ends are worn out. Harley bottom ends last a long, long time. This is not a full Timken bottom end. At least it didn't start off life that way. The only way for me to know if it's had the Timken conversion would be to take the whole motor apart and look. What they do is they machine a groove or machine a space, and then they put a sleeve into the case for a full Timken bearing. Okay, and this one's mint. It's got a few little marks on it. Again, not really too concerned about it. The other one's definitely got more wear. So I'll replace both of these while I'm in here. All I'm probably going to do, or not probably, I'm just going to put these screws back in to keep this together in one piece. And I guess what I'll do now is I will go in and I will remove and replace the cam bearings. And then this thing's going to sit for a bit till I can get new lifters for it. There we go. Only one cam is clipped in this side. So if you pull this clip, this whole cam assembly will come out. Roller bearing on this side and a regular ball bearing on this side. Not sure what that's about, but I'm guessing that's how these things came. Really happy. You know, this motor is really strong. It sounds good. It runs good. Whoever built this motor, they mixed and matched the right components. And it's kind of like porting a two-stroke. You need to match what you're doing for what you're building. It's not a one-size-fits-all, contrary to what some people say. You need to really look at what you're doing. This motor was built for this bike. So whoever built this, props to you. I'm sure you'll never see this, but I've ridden a lot of built Harley motors over the years, and this thing's up there. It's really a performer. Okay, here's our inner cam bearings. These have been replaced already, I can tell. It has the factory bearings in here. There's race and then race bearing all the way around, which was a weaker design. Again, Harley was cheaping out just like everybody else has over the years. Okay, so you need a puller for this, and all you do is you push that in. Okay, slide it in, and then there's that piece right there. Okay, and you push this piece in there to tighten it up. You can see it's grabbing the bearing now. Don't need to hammer it in there too far. And then there's a sleeve here. This is the new bearing. Okay, so that center's on there. Slide this sleeve over. And then there's a washer. And a nut. Now this should pull the bearing out without too much trouble. Probably just going to use a crescent wrench here. No, that one's not big enough. Okay, take an 1.125" wrench. Now this should pull it out without too much problems. Okay guys, I just loosened it off here just to make sure it is pulling it out, and it is. Okay, we'll just tighten this back up. Just like to be careful, you don't want to damage anything. And I'm just going to keep spinning this until it pulls the bearing all the way out. And there we go. Bearing came out. Okay, now we do the same thing with this one. It's definitely easier to work on this stuff now with the internet. There was no internet purchasing when I last worked on this stuff. Oh, and there's the other bearing. Okay, and I've inspected the bores. Everything looks good. I went with S&S bearings, and you want the writing to the outside, okay? There's a flat side and a rounded side. You can see that? This is the flat side. This is the rounded side. You want the flat side up against your tool. Okay, so I don't know if that's the way I'm supposed to do it, but I'm going to place that bearing just gently in the opening of the bore. And again, writing out, this double, triple checking, because if the writing's in, I'll have to redo it. I'll have to buy a new one. Okay, I'm just going to put that right in there. There is 2 shoulders on this. This will push it in the right amount. Okay, and then there's a bunch of thumb screws to hold it to the case. I'm going to assemble all this, and then I'll show you guys. Okay, now I'm going to carefully start this. Well, it feels like it's going in, so I might as well just keep going until it stops. Again, friends, right tools for the job. This whole setup cost like 80 bucks Canadian. Works fine. Probably only going to use it once or twice. If I was a professional, maybe I'd buy a name brand one. This is just a generic knockoff. Seems to work so far. I can always modify it with my lathe. I was yakking with one of you guys about lathes, and the guy said, well, my brother-in-law has given me one for free. I don't know if I really want it. And I was like, well, I get it. Lathes take up a lot of room. Okay, this is not all the way in, but I just wanted to check. Looks like it's going in nice and straight. No binding on the bearing. Yeah, he's saying you can get one for free, basically. And if you've never had a lathe, you don't need one, right? But once you've had one and you use it, like this puller, I could repurpose this to push other bearings out, because I can make mandrels and fittings, and you know what I mean, friends? So it's because I have a lathe, right? How come my screw holes are not lining up here? There we go. Okay, I'm going to press this in. Okay. There we go. Pressed in. Bearing feels smooth. Now I'll go ahead and press in the other side, and then we're done. No, not quite. There we go. That should do it. A lot of work into this bike, friends, but this is what it is, right? Look at that diesel we worked on all fall and summer. That thing's been phenomenal. I'm so happy I did all that work. And I think we're in. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. Okay. It's just sunken in from the face here, friends. And there's a little lip there. So there we go. I'm going to leave you guys here. I'm going to decide whether I'm going to replace that or not. I mean, it does have some wear on it. But we're getting there, friends.